Through three-dimensional simulated worlds, a person may elect to immerse themselves in limitless possibilities. It utilizes a headset that obstructs your view of everything around you, so that you can truly immerse yourself in the simulated environment. When you think of a virtual reality oasis, many people's first thought doesn't immediately think of Fresno, California. The valley is best known for its agriculture, which is an amazing contribution to the community. However, many would be surprised that exciting technology is blooming right in our backyard. Two Fresno State alumni have made it their mission to bring the intricate world of VR and make it tangible for locals in the community of Fresno.
I think Fresno is one of those places where it gets overlooked when it comes to the latest and greatest in innovation and technology.
Their company, Immerse In, is the first virtual reality of its kind in the valley. Paul Xiao and Jet Vong are the brains behind this unconventional hangout spot. They thought virtual reality was a market that Fresno should be a part of.
And we really felt that Fresno can at least be part of that trend and not be on the tail end where 5 to 10 years later, we would eventually get virtual reality, but instead make that available to Fresno today. And we felt that we have the skill set and we have the people who are passionate about these type of cutting edge technologies to make it happen in Fresno today. And rather than wait for some other company or some other large businesses to bring their arcade, we decide, hey, let's go ahead and start one here locally.
Immerse In is a great hangout spot. Whether with friends or have a solo experience, they have various stations utilizing some of the best headsets in the industry to allow their customers the best immersive experiences.
They have multiple areas where you can actually rent out a room of maybe 4 to 10 people and actually have a session with just you and your friends, or you can just join in a random group.
Adam Mahmood, a civil engineering student, discusses his experience with Immerse In.
They were pleasant to talk to, and they were straightforward of what they used and how they would use it and how their rooms are set up and everything like that. They were very inviting to their things. They weren't standoffish.
Paul Xiao discusses the different headsets that they offer at Immerse In.
Really a little bit of Oculus, but our staple is the HTC Vive. And the reason why we went with the HTC Vive is because of the motion tracking controllers and then also the room sensing setup so that people can move around in about like 8x10 space. So there's more interaction and it's a more immersive environment. Now, Oculus was able to come out with their motion controllers and room sensing later on. So now Oculus is able to pretty much match what HTC Vive offers. Now, with the PlayStation VR, from what I've read, they have the highest selling units of virtual reality devices out there. One, because there's a lot of PlayStation owners. Yes. Two, is one of the most affordable virtual reality experiences people can buy.
I think that, like many things in technology in regards to gaming, I think that gamers tend to be some of the most kind of passionate and enthusiastic group of consumers. And so I think VR, or virtual reality, is one of those fields that I think has really wide-sweeping ramifications and potential in other industries.
Ronnie Gerber is a mass communications and journalism student in the multimedia option. He is an avid gamer and an early adopter of new tech. He discusses why VR is a great avenue in terms of gaming.
But I think for games in particular, it's useful because it's really kind of pushing the limits of what you can do with computer graphics and immersion. So I think immersion, little things that we kind of observe in other games, for instance walking through a door, might seem kind of weird or jarring in VR because perspective isn't always considered when you're making a regular game, whereas in VR those little things can be the difference between an experience being really immersive and interesting and cool or something that makes you want to throw up, quite literally.
Paul Xiao discusses how Immerse In got its start.
It's really true Fresno State that did get us started in VR. Like I mentioned earlier, it's we were teaching that flight simulator class, which is done at Fresno State under the program Youth Tech Institute.
Jet Vong discusses what's next for Immerse In.
At some point, right now, as far as in the whole VR market, there's a race of development going on, right? So, different companies are trying different things. There's even like Lenovo and things like that. They're already trying to get into the educational market, but they're very expensive. Again, and it's kind of like electric cars. It's in its infancy stage, but it's about to grow up. It's about to get into the teenage years where there's a bigger market share. I mean, there's a lot of arcade owners right now anyways, sort of across the United States. We want to sort of diversify ourselves to not just, being able to provide like public, access to VR, but also moving into content creation and things like that. And again, we want to focus on education because that's where we are. That's our space this is the space that we're in. And, especially, what Paul wanted to do in the beginning and the reason why this exists, it's to enrich students' experience in education, more hands-on learning and things like that.
This is Monet Schlotterbeck, Fresno State Focus, Radio Edition.